All right, so check this out. Some dude left his caddy unlocked and I'm about to take it. This thing looks so boss. Taking a look around to see that nobody's watching. All right, let's do this. Oof. Oh, wait, what the heck? Why does this have 3 pedals? Oh, oh man. My name is Omar and this is the 2022 Cadillac CT4V Blackwing. All right, let's slow it down and talk a little bit. For everyone out there that's thinking about getting a Blackwing, please get it with a manual transmission. The only reason I say that is at the rate that we're running after electrifying our future, cars like this will be made less and less. And of course, you're less likely to get your car stolen. Not to mention the manual transmission on the Cadillac Blackwings is simply perfect. It's tuned and dialed in so precisely with the amount of power that you have under the hood that it makes for such a fun and connected driving experience. This is definitely the best manual transmission that I've tested in the last few years. And thank God, because Cadillac says that 50% of the buyers of the Blackwing so far have gotten it with a 6-speed manual transmission. It just has a more real feel to it. It feels like there's less work being done by the computers and more work being done by you. It's all about the connection with cars like this. So, how does a CT4V Blackwing drive? It's absolutely perfect. I can't even begin to cover the amount of time and engineering that has gone into making this, but it checks all of the boxes. It has a track focus chassis, an electronic limited slip differential that has been enhanced to improve agility, and you have Magnetic Ride Control 4.0, which is now the world's fastest reacting suspension, whether you're on the track or you're on the road. On everyday roads, this thing is actually pretty comfortable. I mean, it's no S-Class, but I didn't expect it to drive like this. I thought it would have been very rough and very stiff, but my back actually feels okay after driving this around for a week. I thought that my whole body would hurt after I hit an uneven surface. And when it comes to handling, this thing is sharp. It is very, very precise. I mean, that's pretty much a given, right? It had to be outstanding. It does feel sharper than the M3 that I tested a few months back, but that said, there's not a world of a difference between the two that you're going to go for one over the other just because you want to turn harder. And I think this and the M3 are the only two in the segment that offer a 6-speed manual transmission. But the CT4V Blackwing has one leg up on the M3. It comes from the factory with flat foot shifting or power shifting, meaning you can shift without ever taking your foot off the gas. It comes from the factory like this. This is not an aftermarket tune. That is nuts, and it sounds simply amazing. So let's take a listen to how it sounds on the outside. All right, I really have to work on my flat foot shifting skills. Adding that to my to-do list. All right, so should you consider buying the Cadillac CT4V Blackwing? And is it worth the $59,000 or so that Cadillac is demanding for it? I know you're pretty impressed by that price tag, but there is no way that in today's market you're getting this for MSRP. Either way, let me give you a quick tour of this thing, and then I'll give you my opinion on whether or not if you should pay above MSRP for one. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe. All right, let's do this. All right, before we get into everything else, let's take a look at some of the cool and interesting things about the CT4V Blackwing. All right, so let's kick it off by talking about the steering wheel here on the Blackwing. First of all, I have to point out that this high-performance steering wheel that you're seeing here is optional. The standard steering wheel is the same one straight from the non-Blackwing V. Now, the upgraded high-performance steering wheel will give you this giant V button that will constantly stare you in the face and tempt you. Push it, because you eventually will, you can activate V mode, which will take all your performance attributes in the CT4V Blackwing and maximize them. You can also customize your V mode to set the right balance for you. The dial here on the right will let you circle through your performance traction mode, so you can go through and set it to wet, dry, sport, race 1, or race 2, which is probably really scary. Also, if you go for the upgraded high-performance steering wheel, you'll get some pretty cool Easter eggs. On the bottom right here is a serialized number plate. The first 2 digits here denote the model code and the transmission code, 4 being the model for CT4V Blackwing, and 6 being the code for 6-speed manual. The number to the right will tell you which production unit you own, so this here is the 175th CT4V Blackwing made. I feel really special. And check this out, if you go for the manual transmission, you won't have paddle shifters, obviously. But the designers at Cadillac did something very cool. On the back where the paddle shifters would be, designers added a little cover with a laser etched map of GM's testing and technical centers in Milford and Warren, Michigan. That is a really cool Easter egg right there. Speaking of the manual transmission, let me point out something really quick. Both the CT4V Blackwing and the CT5V Blackwing are the first GM production vehicles with 3D printed parts. This medallion right here that sits on top of the shifter is actually 3D printed. That is pretty dope. GM says that the HVAC ducts and the electrical harness brackets in the Blackwings are also 3D printed. Alright, let's move on to the gauge cluster because there is quite a bit going on here. First of all, you have tons of information on here, depending on what theme you're in. This is really your central hub for your Blackwing, because the infotainment system is pretty bland. You have a few themes that you can pick from, or you can just set it to change with your drive modes. This is what Tour looks like, not bad. I like Sport, and I really like the track theme. The track theme takes away everything and lets you focus on the vital information that you need on the track. Alright, so what's this little slot right here? Well, that's where you would put the SD card to record your lap when you're on the track using the Performance Data Recorder. And not only does it record all the data from your lap run, but it will also record a video so you can put it up on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok and show people how cool you are on the track. Now, before we get into the pricing details, I just want to show you something about the key. You see this little bronze plate around the key? It obviously doesn't match the car. Well, that's because this bronze color right here matches the color of the brake calipers. If you get red brake calipers, you'll get a red plate around your key. And if you get blue calipers, you'll get a blue plate. Interesting. Alright, let's get into the pricing details for the CT4V Blackwing. It's obviously one of the most affordable options in this segment, starting at right under $59,000. But as tested here, you're looking at $75,640. So what the hell happened here? What are the extra $16,600 worth of options on my test model? Well, before we get into that, let's take a look at what you get as standard. On the outside, every CT4V Blackwing gets 18-inch wheels as standard that you can upgrade to other 18-inch size wheels. They'll come with Brembo brake calipers, which you can change the color of, and you get a giant spoiler, but not this one right here. Lighting game-wise, you have standard LED headlamps, standard LED daytime running lights. You also get these pretty cool LED taillights with a nice little Cadillac logo hidden inside them. That's pretty dope. Other than that, you get magnetic ride control, the latest version of it. You have an adaptive suspension, a rear differential, electronic limited slip, and much more for your performance stuff. Hop inside and you get a bunch of convenience features, including Intellux seats. I think Intellux is how you say it, meaning they're not real leather. Although they are heated as standard, so that's nice. You also get a heated steering wheel as standard. You have dual zone climate control. Memory seats are also standard, as well as a power tilt and telescoping steering wheel, which I've noticed as of late, not every luxury brand offers that as standard. Now, when it comes to tech, you're working with a tiny 8-inch touchscreen display with a Cadillac CUE infotainment system. You have navigation as standard, along with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, so that's pretty nice. The 12-inch digital instrument display that I showed you earlier is also standard, which is a bit surprising to me. So check this out, the SD card reader right here for the Performance Data Recorder is standard, which is weird because the Performance Data Recorder is optional, so no idea why that's there. Sound system wise, you're working with a pretty awesome 15-speaker AKG sound system, and you also have a wireless charger as standard. Nice. As for standard driver assist tech, you get lane keep assist with lane departure warning, rear cross traffic alert, park assist, front collision alert, front pedestrian braking, and much more. You also get a rear view camera, but you don't have a surround view camera, not even as an option, which kind of sucks. Alright, so what's optional on my test model here? Well, let's quickly get the lower price items out of the way first. Starting with the bronze brake calipers, they are $595 extra, $625 for the Shadow Metallic paint job. I'm actually digging the Blaze Orange and Electric Blue. Those are really nice colors. $600 for the upgraded 18-inch satin graphite wheels, $725 for the heads-up display right here, $600 for the climate package, which actually gives you ventilated seats and massaging seats. Massaging seats in a Blackwing is something I did not expect. And then you have $1,600 for the Performance Data Recorder so you can use that SD card slot. Now, for the big ticket items, the jet black interior with jet black accents and leather seats here costs an extra $4,900. This package will upgrade your seats to the high performance bucket seats. Quick Easter egg to point out here, on the back of the front seats, you have a laser etched V-Series logo. Next up, you have the Carbon Fiber 1 package for $4,350. This will give you a bigger carbon fiber rear spoiler that's a little bit more stylish. It'll also give you a carbon fiber front splitter and these crazy looking carbon fiber dive planes or canards, which is a term that I don't like using for some reason. And you also get carbon fiber wheel deflectors. Last but not least, you have another carbon fiber package called the Carbon Fiber 2 package. Very clever name there. It costs an extra $2,650. Adding this will give you a carbon fiber rear diffuser and carbon fiber rocker moldings on the side. So that's it. It's really the two carbon fiber packages and the interior package that sends the price tag of my test model here skyrocketing. All right, let's talk horsepower and torque. Power comes from a 3.6 liter twin turbo V6 making 472 horsepower and 455 pound-feet of torque. You have a choice of a 6-speed manual transmission or a 10-speed automatic. Now, going from 0 to 60 with the manual transmission will take you 4.1 seconds. With the 10-speed automatic, it'll take you 3.9 seconds. And you have a top speed of 189 miles an hour because 190 would have been too fast. Let's quickly take a look at the exterior design of the CT4V Blackwing, which is just a souped-up version of the regular CT4. Personally, I think the CT4 is one of the more basic-looking luxury sedans in this segment. It's not bad-looking, but it's been out since 2019, and I already feel like it needs some fancying up. I can't wait to see Cadillac incorporate some design from the Lyriq into their other models. Now, that said, the CT4V Blackwing does look way more aggressive, and I'm a big fan. This definitely looks better than the M3 and even better than the M2 because, you know, this falls in that weird spot where it sits in between those two cars. I also think it looks better than the AMG C63, but when it comes to the Audi RS5 Sportback, well, that's a tough call. Either way, keep in mind that you do have to add both of the carbon fiber packages to really make it stand out like my test model here, which means you'll have to drop an extra $7,000 to look cooler than other CT4V Blackwings on the road. As far as cargo capacity goes, it's nothing spectacular. You have only 10.7 cubic feet. Sorry for my mess there, but yeah, it's not that great. Let's hop inside and check out the interior of the smaller Blackwing. And again, this is where you'll see GM taking some cost-cutting measures to make this a cheaper option than the competition. Now, that doesn't mean it's completely terrible. The quality in here overall is pretty nice, but if you put this side by side next to an Audi, a BMW, or Mercedes-Benz, it doesn't look as stylish or luxurious. Really, the most exciting part about the interior of both Blackwings is the digital instrument cluster. It is really nice. Other than that, it's pretty much the same interior on every CT4. Not much has been upgraded in terms of materials. And yes, I get it, the 8-inch touchscreen display is pretty small, but this is a driver's car. You're not going to be messing with it that much anyway. But yeah, I do want to give Cadillac a huge shout out for not throwing piano black all over this interior and for not hiding everything in the infotainment. Thank you for giving us physical buttons and prioritizing ease of use. As for rear legroom, you only have 33.4 inches of legroom back here. I'm about 6 foot tall. That is my seating position. As you can see, I can't even fit back here. So yeah, it's terrible. Now, before I give you my final thoughts on the Cadillac CT4V Blackwing, let me point out a few random things that I'll have to show all of you. You have 4 cup holders, 2 in the front for the front passengers, obviously, and then you have 2 in the back right there for the rear passengers. Door open and close sound from the outside and from the inside. Solid. Charging game wise, again, you get a standard wireless charger right there. And then in the front armrest, you're working with a USB-C port and a USB-A port. Rear passengers are working with a cigarette lighter charger and 1 USB-C port that they will have to fight over. It is now time for an indicator and horn sound test here with the 2022 Cadillac CT4V Blackwing. Indicator first. GM indicator. Now for the horn sound. Oh yeah, that's good. And now that I've given you a tour of the Cadillac CT4V Blackwing, let me give you my opinion on whether or not if you should buy this over the competition. Yes, you should. All right, I'll see you next time. Take care. Peace. No, I'm just kidding, but not really. I mean, it's not even a question here. The only question is what this thing really competes with. Cadillac has always had a weird thing about the size of the CT4 and CT5. For the CT4 specifically, it sits between the M2 and the M3, or between the Audi RS3 and RS5. It's really confusing, to be honest, but just think of Cadillac sedans as the in-between options. And hey, that might be the reason why we think these are cheaper than what we think they compete with. You know what I'm saying? If you're considering the M2 or the M3, definitely take a look at the CT4V, because the Audi RS5 and the RS3 and the AMG C63 are not even available with the manual transmission, which you should definitely get. Either way, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit like, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. My handle is @OmarDrives. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace. All right, flat foot shift trying here again. It's such a weird experience if you don't do it often.